You don't have to look like a dumbass if you're building your first home or if you're a new contractor. You just got to know a little bit of shit. When it comes to the foundations, you don't need to know how to build all of them. You just need a little bit of knowledge about how to put together. Maybe you're using blocks. You need to know what header blocks are. What are stretcher blocks? What are bond beams? When are you going to use them? What are wall ties? What's the spacing on the wall ties? Are you going to need them? And ladders for your blocks. Do you know where they go? Do you know how they come? Do you know what gauge they are? If you got blocks with your foundation, when are you going to core fill it? Prior to the fill dirt coming in or after the fill dirt comes in? I've seen it done both ways. The problem with that is once you bring the fill dirt in and you go to walking it in and packing it around all the edges, it's a lot easier to have a blowout on the side of a block wall like that. You need to try to get a minimum of 95% compaction on your pad. It's not hard to do in the middle, but it's around the perimeter and in the corners where it's tough. So bring some fill dirt in and then pack it. Bring some dirt in and pack it. Just do it in steps all the way up so you make sure you got compaction in your corners and just be careful not to blow them out. You're gonna need to know the difference in a footer, a step footer, a grade beam, a spreader footer, stem walls, chain walls, ICF, mono, cross space, basement. If you live in the South and you're building in the summer, your footers are probably gonna fill up with water at some point. What's the best way to get the water out? Is your inspector gonna let you wet set your uprights from your footings, or are you gonna have to pre-tie them? Whatever number rebar you're using is directly related to its size. It's all in eighths. So if you've got a number 4 bar, that's 4/8. That's a 1/2 inch bar. If you've got a number 8 bar, which hopefully you don't, then that's 8/8. That's 1 inch bar. You need to know the difference in a wire mesh roll and a mesh mat and a rebar grid. What's the best way to suspend them in the concrete? Which is the best method? Which one are you gonna use? When it comes to fill dirt, be familiar with red clay, sandy loam. Know what moisture and excessive rain does to your mason sand. Know what traces of clay does to your mason sand. Have some form of idea about overlaps and splices on your rebar. Typically, the minimum length distance is 40 times the bar's diameter. So if you got a 1/2 inch bar, that would be 20 inches. You need to know when to call in for your pre-treat. You need to know when to call in for your inspections. There's more than one inspection you have to have prior to pouring the concrete. You need to know the pros and cons of tailgating concrete, using a line pump, using an aerial pump. What's the point of adding shots of calcium into your concrete? What's a straight mix? What's a pump mix? What are curing compounds, accelerators, other admixtures that they can put in the concrete? What exactly is honeycombing? How does it happen? How do you prevent it? Know about anchor bolts. Know your spacing on your anchor bolts. Do you have the right diameter, the right length? Where do they go? Not in the doorways.